If your business is no longer growing as it was or should be, and you've hit one of those infamous ceilings of complexity, where it doesn't matter how hard or how long you work, the growth needle just hardly moves, marginal incremental increases in profit, if that, then you're going to find the next 20 minutes eye-opening. In fact, even if you're not at a ceiling of complexity in your business, where what got your business to where it is now isn't getting it to where you need it to be, this will be the most priceless 20 minutes of your entire entrepreneurial career. Now, that could be the death of my reputation right there. 3 decades at the time of recording I've been in this profession, and I could be laying it bare and having it slaughtered right there if I do not deliver on the promise. So let me do that. The star of the show is going to unfold on this good old-fashioned flip chart. I apologize for it being a bit wrinkly, but then again, the presenter's a bit wrinkly, so you're going to have to put up with it, I'm afraid. But we're going to use the old-fashioned flip chart, and we're going to use some of the good old-fashioned pens. And we're going to unfold exactly the ultimate cause of the problem that you're facing in your business. The operative word being ultimate. You see, what happens when most business owners hit a ceiling of complexity is that they work harder and harder for longer and longer, so the business starts to consume the life it was meant to liberate. And that's because they go looking for solutions to the growth problem where it doesn't exist. They go looking to their sales, they go looking to their marketing, they go looking to their operations, they go looking across all of the business mechanics when the problem isn't the business. The problem is not the business. It's not the economy. It's not the marketplace. It's not your so-called competition. And it's not even those grossly incompetent, hard of thinking politicians either. I know, hard to accept, but it's true. So let's talk about what we're all in the business of as entrepreneurs. What are you looking for? You're looking for transformational impact on your top and bottom line. You're looking for growth in profits. You're looking for, might sound patronizing, I'm not meaning to do that, just bear with me here. You're looking for transformation in results. Allow that R to represent the results you're currently getting in your business. And then we're going to allow that R to represent the results you want to have in your business. But it's all about results. We get results in every aspect of our life, from our waistlines to our bank accounts, to our relationships, to the top and bottom line of our business. Now, let's talk about a thinking person. That's a rarity, by the way. About 250 years ago, George Bernard Shaw said that 2% of people think, 3% of people think they think, they're the dangerous ones, and 95% of people would rather die than think. Now, that's funny until you realize how true it is. Very few people think. Most people think they're thinking when they're experiencing mental activity. So let's operate here for the next 20 minutes as a truly thinking person. We think two ways. We think deductively from the outside in. That's what most people experience. Thinkers think inductively from the inside out. So a thinking person is aware that life expresses itself through a series of laws. They're called natural laws. I'll come back to that in a moment. Let's just think about sport for a moment. If you're going to succeed, if you're going to win in any kind of game, whether it's cards all the way up to football or rugby or athletics, you have to know the rules of the game. You have to understand the parameters by which you succeed. Well, life operates in exactly the same way. Very few people are aware of natural law. Now, I can guarantee you're aware of probably the most famous natural law of them all. What Ralph Waldo Emerson called the law of laws, the law of cause and effect. For every effect there's a cause, for every cause there's an effect. We tend to operate from ignorance, where we're experiencing the effects of unknown causes. We tend to call that luck, chance, or the hand of God. It's just we haven't grown in the awareness to understand the cause of the effect. So the thinking person in business as an entrepreneur understands that results are effects. They have ancestry. We're going to unpack that ancestry over the next 20 minutes or so. So the thinking person says, if my results are effects, what is the immediate cause of them? And doesn't take too much of a rocket scientist to work out that the immediate cause of our results are our actions and behaviors. You don't need to have an Einstein intellect to work out that it's our actions and behaviors that are the immediate cause of our results. All very self-explanatory. So the next question a thinking person would ask is, okay, if my actions and behavior are the cause of my results, what is the cause of my actions and behaviors? Now, it's a very rare individual that thinks this far, even this far, into their performance in life, into their success and what causes their outcomes. But you know, very few people, even those very few people that do think that far, ever think further than here. And here's why. We are raised to operate through our 5 physical senses. We're moving here from the tangible to the intangible. All tangible effects come from intangible causes. Let me repeat that. All tangible effects come from intangible causes. So what I'm saying here is this is the boundary between what we see, hear, taste, touch and smell, how we've been raised to operate, which is no different to the beautiful little animals we share this planet with. Rather than using our higher faculties, our inner eye of understanding, if a person's not conscious, not aware enough, they live oblivious to the fact that we have a non-physical side to our being that impacts and calls forth every experience that we have in our lives. Now, this is crucial for your business because both you and everybody that's in your business is operating through a specific creative engine that you're not even getting anywhere near. You're not even looking at the cause of this effect, I can guarantee it, because you don't know what you don't know. So, I'm going to draw 2 circles here to carry on with our cause and effect equation. This little circle represents the body, because we know that actions and behaviors come out of our physical body. That's where the tangible ends. This much bigger circle, and try and be kind to my appalling artwork, this much bigger circle represents the mind, the unseen part of your personality. Now, the reason that I'm drawing this very simple graphic is because no one's got a picture of the mind. This was the experience of a chiropractor called Thurman Fleet, who operated out of San Antonio, Texas in the 1930s. He believed in the holistic medical approach. He got tired of the medical profession's focus on always looking at symptoms and seeking to solve them rather than solve the cause of the disease. Sounds familiar, huh? And so he realized when he started treating his patients holistically, and they made a lot of progress, but they plateaued, a bit like your growth. They got to a certain point and they couldn't get any further, and he knew they were capable of healing themselves at a much better rate than they were. And he recognized that they had no context, they had no image to work with about what they were seeking to influence. You see, you think in pictures. Now, you may not be aware of that, but think of your car for a moment. You don't see the letters C-A-R. You see your car, the one that you're emotionally involved with, the one that you own. Now think of your home. Instantly and automatically on the screen of your mind, you're seeing your home. You're not seeing H-O-M-E. You think in pictures. So if I asked you to think about what your mind looks like, most people think of the brain. Well, they don't get an image at all. But the brain's no more than the mind than my fingernail is. The brain is a very sophisticated organ, but ask any neurologist, they'll tell you that they've never found a mind when they've opened up a skull to have a look at a brain. Mind is an omnipresent energy field. So we're going to use this very simple cartoon-like graphic to illustrate the ultimate cause of the effects in your business and what's stopping you from getting that growth that you know your business is capable of, but is not expressing itself here. All right? Okay, so we're here again. The thinking person. If my actions and behaviors are the cause of my effects called results, what is the cause of my actions and behaviors? Now, most people, if they've been anywhere near any kind of self-exploration and discovery, personal growth, would tell you that understand that the mind is split into two parts. You have the conscious mind, the mind that you think with, and you have your unconscious, sometimes called the subconscious. Now, most people would say the cause of my actions and behaviors is my thinking. And that's absolutely correct. An old axiom in the personal growth industry is change your thinking, change your life. But you know, that doesn't go deep enough, because if you're a truly thinking person, the next question you would ask is, okay, if my thoughts, if the quality of my thinking is determining ultimately how I act and behave into my results, then what is it that is causing, or at least influencing, my thinking? You see, if that's the case, that your thinking ultimately drives your actions and behaviors and therefore consequently your results, if these are to change, then you've got to question what's got to change here. Ultimately, if you want to change the quality of your outcomes and you want to change the quality of your actions and behaviors, you're going to have to change your thinking. So if you want to change your thinking, you're going to have to understand what causes your thinking. And the ultimate sponsor of the quality of thinking that is happening and expressing itself through you for the vast majority of time where you're not intervening is your beliefs. Your beliefs are the ultimate architect of your outcomes. When you are not consciously intervening, which is the vast majority of your time, those beliefs that you think you know your beliefs, I can guarantee you do not know anywhere near a high percentage of your beliefs. The vast majority of your beliefs, which are just simply ideas that you've accepted uncritically from the outside without ever assessing or evaluating the consequences of them, you are not mostly aware of those beliefs at all. You're aware of some, but not the vast majority. They express themselves into your thinking mind, so you think habitually, and they express themselves through the body, which is the part of your personality that's controlled entirely by your unconscious. So you have habitual ways of thinking, habitual action and behaviors, habitual results, cause and effect. If you want to change the growth trajectory of your business, here's your problem. It doesn't matter how much marketing and sales you change, the quality of your thinking is determining everything you do in every business function. Every decision you make, all the choices that sponsor your decision making, comes from here. And if this doesn't change, your business will never outgrow the quality of thinking you bring to it. And if you do not work at the cause of that effect, you cannot possibly affect those. You might get short-term incremental blips in performance, sure. You might well get small marginal increases, but you will not get profound transformation, and that ceiling of complexity will keep dragging you back, because if nothing changes here, nothing changes there, nothing changes there, and nothing changes there. Cause and effect. That is the ultimate cause and effect relationship in your life, not just in your business. And when you start to grasp that truth, everything starts to change. So, what's the message here? The message is don't despair. I know it's frustrating, but there is an answer here. But you have to start to work on the creative engine that is calling forth every outcome in your business and every outcome in your life. The only reason you're not aware of that is because you're asleep to it. You weren't raised to understand this. We weren't educated in these matters. When did you go to a class at school called thinking? I didn't. What about university? Did you see one there? Not at all. Did you go to a university class or a school class that said self-discovery, understanding self? Not at all. But what did it say? In ancient Greece, in the temple at Delphi, know thyself. This is where it's at. Every single person you employ operates through exactly the same creative process. Put it this way. Imagine owning a high-performance sports car. And you know that car, it was throttled back in some way. It was only doing, it's capable of doing 300 miles an hour, and yet it's being throttled back to about 100 miles an hour. And you knew it was capable of so much more. Here's how most business owners, imagine that car is your business. Here's how most business owners go about things. They'll stick a new set of tyres on the car. Now, will that improve the performance? Well, maybe a little bit, yeah, for sure. Maybe they'll stick a spoiler on the back and make it a little bit more aerodynamic. Will that improve the car? Sure, a little bit. They'll respray the outside. Makes no difference at all. Stick some new seats inside. Makes no difference at all. Might sound facetious, but that's exactly what most business owners are doing, because they have no understanding. They're not aware of the ultimate cause of their effects. Understand this, my friend. What you are aware of, you control. What you are not aware of controls you. Which is why the wisest and most piercingly accurate quote you'll ever hear about what it takes to become profoundly successful as an entrepreneur is this one. It comes from Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and psychotherapist. He said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Now let me repeat that piece of absolute gold. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This is the ultimate cause and effect relationship in your life and your business. And if you ignore it, you ignore it at your peril. Now, if you would like to explore this much further and get a much greater understanding, I would encourage you to pick up a copy of that book. It is my book. Big self-promotion here, but that's what this is all about. So you'll see the link at some point in this video somewhere. Pick up that book and it will give you everything you need to understand not only how this is operating in your business, but most importantly, how you get to grips with it. Because that's the wonderful thing. What you are not aware of controls you. What you are aware of, you control. We're putting you back in control of this outcome process, and that is when you'll see that growth that you know your business is capable of finally materializing in your top and bottom line, your profits, which ultimately then is about feeding your income, your wealth, your prosperity, so you can bring the quality of life and most importantly, share that quality of life with the people you love most. Now, how does this happen? Well, I'm going to share that in another video because I've nearly hit my 20-minute limit here. But I did promise that I'd deliver that gold for you at the front of this 20-minute spell. And I am hoping if you've been paying attention, you now understand why I could make that promise. It's a little bit like the center of a city. It doesn't matter what suburb you come from, the truth is the truth. It's like the center of the city. It's the same. It doesn't matter where you come from in the city, you end up in the same place. Know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Everything I do hangs off this very simple graphic because everything we do hangs off this simple graphic. If you want to change any experience in your life, you have to understand where it's being called forth from, the ultimate cause and effect relationship in your life. That's why this is called the ultimate entrepreneurial success strategy. I hope that's helped you. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't done already. There's going to be tons more stuff on the channel, and I look forward to sharing it with you. But I really appreciate you staying with me as I shared this with you today. And I hope it's been of value because that certainly was the intention. See you soon. Bye for now.